welcome to my knife channel. Well, I wasn't going to buy any more knives, and I checked Ryder, I checked Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and I checked their cinnamon line, and they had all of them, or pretty much all of them that they have up there. And I looked at the different ones, and because I pretty much were collecting doctor's knives, I settled on this one just to see how the whole pattern, our whole series is going to turn out. So it comes in this nice little magnetic box with like a stag deer running in the background, and it's wrapped in cellophane. I took the cellophane away, but it's your standard huge magnetic box. And then it says, this series features genuine cinnamon bone stag handles with high polished Damascus steel blades. The traditional acorn shield, first used in the Outdoorsman series, is among Rough Ryder's first shields on the market. And Rough Ryder is always built by hand and backed for life. I licked it. It doesn't taste like cinnamon at all. So, right there, those of you that like cinnamon and you want cinnamon bone stag, you're going to be disappointed in the taste right off the bat. So, don't let that discourage you, because you can always sprinkle more cinnamon on it. Right away I noticed something, and I'm going to see if you can find out. We'll have to zoom in, and it's not obvious from this picture yet. All right, we're just zooming in a little bit. This thing says it has Damascus on it, and at first I couldn't tell if this was an etch or if it's really Damascus, but it probably is. Did you see the defect yet? We'll do that again. Who's shiny on that edge? Just right there. What does just right there line up with? Well, when you come down, just right there lines up with a pin. What does usually happen when you've got a pin in there? Well, they raise something up. Piece of metal in the backspace, that little hump down there, is probably what's causing this. Even though the pin looks a little bit offset from this raised part, that's how I'm going to try to fix this. I could send it back and get another one, but this gets by on more than one Rough Ryder, this particular blade wrap. And yeah, you could just close the knife without trying to listen to it click and everything, but if the knife is built correctly, built by hand, right, then you should have closed it a couple of times by hand, not just ease it down like that. Let it go. And if you get what I call like pin wrap, but if you get a wrap right there, I made a mistake on a Congress, a Rough Ryder tobacco bone Congress. It had 3 blades. It had a ding like that, and my thought was the way this ding was coming was these blades were being stored in a rack somewhere where they're being assembled, and there was some bar, and somehow it pushed on that and it got the bar. After a while I started realizing, what does this line up with? Well, it lines up with a high portion in the knife, and that's what happened. Now, when they were doing this, they could have had the kick higher if they wanted to, but they might have reached the point where you get too high with the kick. See, they still had a little bit of space, but they don't want you to like feel anything. They don't want you to grab the point. And that's a lot of room that you could go, and to miss that gap, they probably ground the kick down too much, is what I'm saying. As far as centering this goes, this one looks nice. There is a pretty big scale gap back here that, I don't know if you can see it with this. This might be too bright. Go dim. See the light coming through? So that, like I said, this one is $17.99, but most of the ones in these series are $20-something. I think it's because of the Damascus blade on it. It has a nice half stop on it. I'll put the specs up there, but it's a nice design. It only has it's a doctor's knife, but it only has 1 blade on it. They did this the Stag, the cinnamon Stag, really nice. As far as coloration goes, like I said, the taste test, it didn't pass that. But nice flushness here. This thing's having a hard time focusing because I'm so zoomed in. Back it off a little bit. Yeah, and any unevenness you see on this, I think that's just because of the pattern. See, this comes up like that. And this is thin right here just because of that, but it's tapered right here on both ends. And that's done fairly well. You feel a proud pin right here on this one. And that's just because it's in that groove, that they put a pin in that groove right there. What I usually do is if this gets annoying enough to me, I take a little file and I knock that down a little bit. But all in all, I like it. I like the series. I really like the color. I'm glad they brought that acorn shield back. I think that's a really cool one. The coloration, the jigging. Here's another one that feels a little proud when you're pushing on it. You can see that edge right there. You'll catch on that. Match strike nail pull, just one blade, spear point. Pretty nice. Let me measure it here on the side. It's about a 2.5 inch. I'll put the specs up like I said. I was looking for a Damascus pattern in here. This was the only thing that was getting me to say, like, is this really Damascus steel or is it Damascus-like? But I'll let them answer that one. I think it's Damascus, but it does have a nice pattern to it. So all in all, yeah, I think these are pretty good knives. Let me show you what I've been putting my doctor's knives in. I got this little case here, and let's see if we can, am I zoomed out all the way? Yep, I'm zoomed out all the way. But yeah, I put them in this. I'll have to move the case. I ran out of room because this one is a stag bone. It's the brown stag bone without Damascus, and it just had a pin blade and another one. And earlier I said I didn't have a backwoods bushcrafter pattern. I do. It's this guy. I just forgot about him. He was over here in the doctor's knife thing. But yeah, that's them. Let me scoot this up just to show you. Those two in the bottom, of course, are not doctor's knives. They're just something to hold that place. So I think I got this thing at Smoky Mountain Knife Works also. But it's just a nice semi-rigid one that clips in place. No handle or anything. Just a couple little snaps. I just wanted to separate my doctor's knives from the rest of them. So there you go. That's this little cinnamon stag bone doctor's knives from Rough Ryder. That this series, like I said, is going to be a little bit more expensive. It's not as expensive as the Rough Ryder Reserve, but it's going to be about probably $5 to $10 more than you're used to paying for a similar, like brown stag without Damascus. I think the Damascus is where they're going for their price. And like I said, to fix that particular ding right there, to fix that one, I'm going to try to get my Dremel tool and go down here, or a file. I'll try a file first, because a Dremel tool, you never know. And knock that ridge down just a little bit. Then I'll reprofile the blade and sharpen it to take that nick out. But yeah, watch for that anytime you get a knife. Most knives have a kick on them and are designed. Some knives are not designed to close like this. Some traditional knives, you're supposed to ease it down. But Rough Riders are not like that. They should be able to survive that if the knife was put together properly. And this one, they missed it. They missed it on the QC. They missed it on the assembly. And to me, it's a bigger deal than this gap. I can live with this gap because it's not affecting the edge at all or the performance of the knife. That is, if you didn't sharpen that, if you tried to run that right now, you go through paper and then, you'd feel that edge. It'd still cut it. Still cut paper, but you wouldn't feel it. I mean, you would feel it when you shouldn't be feeling it. So, there you go. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.